The Sierra program is the CIA's top secret program, where they hire lifetime sentenced inmates to be expendable agents living in the gray, for the rest of their life. When they are done or of no use anymore, they are either thrown back into jail or executed to erase any evidence. In 2003 in Florida, the recruiter, Fitz, is interviewing a candidate for being the 6th Sierra. The man accepts the job and is known as 6 from then on. 18 years later, 6 has become an experienced agent and is the best, even among the other divisions. On a mission, he is sent to Bangkok to retrieve national security level data. This time, he is assisted by another agent, Miranda. With the key from Miranda, 6 enters a room 2 levels below his target's room. There, he finds a suitcase containing his weapon. Over-readying his weapon, the center chief, Denny, briefs him once more of the importance of the mission. Despite having a great track record, Denny doesn't trust 6 due to his dark background. After some time, the target finally arrives. When 6 is about to shoot at the target, a kid shows up. Even though he is cleared to shoot, he doesn't want to risk the kid's safety. So, he decides to use a more direct approach. 6 turns on the fire alarm to separate the target from the masses. He walks behind him and easily takes out some of his guards. They finally realize it and fight back. Miranda also joins in with a gunshot, making the people run in disarray. With his hand-to-hand combat experiences and Miranda's assistance, the guards are all dead. However, the target tries to flee. 6 chases after the man, but he has to empty his gun when caught off guard by the target. Turns out, the target is actually Sierra 4, 6's predecessor. Even so, they still engage in a deadly fight. After some blows amidst the fireworks, 6 finally stabs 4's abdomen. With his last breath, 4 entrusts the classified data to 6. 4 says that he shouldn't trust Denny very much, before breathing his last. Then, 6 leaves the scene alone trying to figure things out. Knowing that the data is in 6's hand, Denny directly calls 6 for a status report. 6 starts to suspect Denny and he decides to go rogue. He then goes to an internet cafe to check the data, but it's encrypted with only 3 tries left. Thus, he sends the hard drive to a colleague who might be able to decrypt it. After confirming 4's identity to Fitz, 6 warns Fitz of Denny's coming. Fitz promises a vessel for 6 to flee and 6 goes to the pickup point. Angered by 6's response, Denny decides to hire a private sociopath and cruel agent named Lloyd. His underling, Suzanne, doesn't like the idea because Lloyd's methods are too cruel. Despite this, Denny immediately briefs Lloyd on the mission, which is to locate and retrieve the hard drive from 6. Lloyd immediately proves himself as a sociopath. He meets Fitz and threatens to hurt his ailing niece, Claire, to have leverage on him and 6. Without other options, Fitz orders his men, who are transporting 6, to quickly and painlessly kill him. However, Fitz never lets his guard down. He uses his surroundings such as fire extinguisher and beacons to put them in disarray. Once their formation is broken, he takes them out one by one. Despite being outnumbered and ganged on, 6 masterfully deflects and counters their attacks. Accidentally, a hole is blown off the plane's wall. The situation immediately becomes chaotic. 6 then sends one of the men flying with a parachute and breaks the plane's engine. Without any parachute left, 6 has to jump out of the plane to chase after an enemy who has escaped. They fight for the parachute midair and 6 wins it by strangling the man to death. Having survived the attack, 6 calls Fitz to confirm the condition. Fitz reveals to 6 that his niece Claire is held hostage by Lloyd, and he understands it. Determined to execute 6, Lloyd announces a big bounty on his head and hires a lot of military men and mercenaries. Back to 6, he is on his way to save Fitz and Claire. Turns out, 2 years ago, 6 used to take care of Claire's safety when Fitz was overseas. Claire lived with Fitz in his safe house in Hong Kong. She has a heart condition, making her so fragile and has to rely on a pacemaker. As an agent raised to kill, 6 was awkward around the kid. Despite this, Claire kept on trying to befriend 6, making them close. At one night, an enemy came to Fitz's house to kidnap Claire. Of course, the man was no match to 6. He defeated the man easily with minimum damage to the house. Back to the present day, 6 arrives in Vienna and resupplies his needs. Then, he meets a hacker to find out Claire's pacemaker's serial number. After getting the number, 6 wants a new passport too. However, the hacker has known the bounty on 6's head and he traps him when he is taking 6's photo. He confuses 6 with all the small talks and opens the trapdoor below 6's feet, making him fall from the height. After some thinking, 6 finally has an idea to break free from the prison. He makes a bomb out of the gunpowder with the gun as the trigger. Then, He leaks the water pipe inside, letting the water flood the well. Just as Lloyd and his men arrive to kill Six blows the bomb up, marking the start of another fight. Amidst the confusion, he starts to take out Lloyd's men one by one. He manages to trim their number significantly despite only using a scissor in his hand. However, Lloyd comes and pepper sprays him. Lloyd holds Six at gunpoint, but Six releases a grenade and manages to run from him. Lloyd still chases after him and captures him once more. Fortunately, Miranda comes to Six's aid. After the failure, Lloyd relocates Fitz and Claire to his home base in Croatia. Suzanne tries to persuade Lloyd to let Fitz and Claire go, but he doesn't listen to any of it. They're different principles and the failure triggers Lloyd's anger towards Suzanne. Meanwhile, Fitz is finally reunited with Claire. Fitz is at a loss for words due to the danger he has put Claire in. After some time, Six finally wakes up after Miranda has tranquilized him. Miranda plans to turn Six in to clear her name out of the mess. Six manages to persuade her to help him, and they plan to go to Prague, to meet Six's colleague who may have decrypted the hard drive. Having agreed to dig deeper into the drive's content, Miranda and Six finally arrive in Prague and meet Margaret, the UK agency chief. She has decrypted the drive which contains evidence of Denny's dirty laundry. Denny has been hiring Lloyd to run all of his unsanctioned ops such as assassination, torture, and bombings. Despite this, someone higher is actually the mastermind, and Denny only does his bidding to climb up the ladder. Four got wind of the evidence, tried to sell to the highest bidder, and Denny sent Six to take Four out. From the CCTV footage in Bangkok, Lloyd also knows that Six has delivered the drive to Prague. He then interrogates Fitz to reveal the colleague's name in Prague, but he shuts his mouth. Fitz shatters when Lloyd threatens to hurt Claire. Lloyd finally knows Margaret's location and he sends his men in. After knowing the drive's content, Margaret is saying her farewell to Six. Suddenly, Lloyd's men arrive and shoot at them. They rain the three with bullets, but none of them hit the three. Then, Margaret fools Six and forces him to flee with her secret exit. She lures Lloyd's men and explodes herself up, sacrificing herself to let Six and Miranda escape. Outside, Six is welcomed by the police. Can't afford to be captured, he fights the police and flees when he has the chance. However, he is hit by a car and gets cuffed by the police. The police cuff him to a park bench while waiting for the SWAT's backup. Suddenly, Lloyd's men come rushing to the square with heavy weapons and armors. They aim at Six who is hiding behind the bench, while shooting at every police that comes. Not long after, the SWAT team arrives and takes out Lloyd's men. As his men are starting to lose the ground, he sends another team in. Six survives all the shootings and manages to get his hand on a gun. He uses it to defend himself, making him run out of bullets. Seeing that the SWAT are winning, Lloyd orders his men to take them out with an RPG. Then, he puts an extra bounty on Six's head. As the battle becomes fiercer, Six takes the ammunition of a nearby dead cop and frees himself, just before being run over by Lloyd's men. Six then flees using the tram, with Lloyd's men on his tail. They chase after him into the tram, but they are of course no match for him. As the tram speeds up, the pursuers chase after him with cars. They bring the fight all over the town with heavy guns everywhere. Six is pinned down to defend himself. Luckily, Miranda comes to his aid. Miranda's arrival really turns the tide around. Six now has the upper hand, making him able to take out the enemies easily. Just as things are about to get better, the enemies bring in a grenade launcher. With this weapon, they try to stop the tram by shooting at it. Just when they are about to shoot another round, Miranda saves Six once more and the enemy is hit by the tram instead. As the tram hits a big building, Six runs backward and jumps onto Miranda's car. The battle ends with Six's big win with all of the city put into chaos. Back at the base, only one out of the many Lloyd's men survive. He continues his pursuit by tailing Six. At night, Six and Miranda go to the hospital to find Claire's location by tracking her pacemaker. Unbeknownst to them, the pursuer from before has arrived there too. After knowing that Claire is in Croatia, the enemy comes and surprises Six. The two then engage in another hand-to-hand combat with the enemy. The enemy gets a hold of the hard drive, and doesn't let it go despite being hit numerous times. He even manages to fight back with his heavy kicks and blows. Then, Six surprises him with an electrical shock, but he is still standing and continues to fight them. Seeing the chance, the enemy escapes out the window and flees with a cop's bike. Back in Croatia, Suzanne is frustrated by the damage Lloyd has incurred. In addition, Denny plans to shift the blame and uses her as the scapegoat. Still wanting to get the hard drive back, Miranda asks Six how he got into prison. He reveals that he used to be raised by his father, a firm military man, along with his brother. His methods were so cruel that he almost killed his brother. So, Six defended his brother and killed his father instead. This sparks Miranda's empathy and she agrees to retrieve the hard drive and save Claire. Meanwhile, the enemy from before has returned with the hard drive. Lloyd has turned the base into a fort to anticipate Six's coming. Lots of men are stationed on strategic positions to monitor every movement. On the other hand, Six and Miranda also have arrived to save Claire. They steal big guns from Lloyd's men and plan their attack. They turn off the electricity and Miranda shoots an RPG at a chopper to mark another big fight. Seeing this, Lloyd orders all of his men to the courtyard. Miranda keeps on getting their attention by launching grenades to their posts. The strategy works, making Six able to secretly enter the building and save Fitz and Claire. Outside, Miranda shoots at Lloyd and he realizes that she is drawing them away from the building. He rushes back to Fitz's chamber only to find that the hostages have gone. To put them further into disarray, Miranda shoots her RPG at the command center, killing a lot of Lloyd's men inside. On the rooftop, the three are being shot at by Lloyd and his men. Fitz gets caught in the line of fire and bleeds badly. He asks Six to save Claire instead and asks for a grenade. Then, he sacrifices himself by blowing himself up in front of Lloyd and his men, while Six and Claire jump into the pool to flee. Back to the command center, the enemy from before survives the explosion and gets a hold of the drive once more. Miranda comes in to retrieve the drive, and they get into a fight. The enemy then dismantles Miranda's gun, making her lose her upper hand. The two strangle one another with cables, until Miranda loses. However, the enemy has changed his perspective after knowing that Lloyd has kidnapped a girl. He gives the drive to Miranda and gets out of the scene. Back to Lloyd, he survives the explosion and confronts Six once more. While the two are battling over a gun, Claire shoots a beacon at Lloyd's back and Six shoots his hand, chopping his 2 fingers off. He exploits Claire's gullibility and finally makes her his hostage once more. Can't afford to lose her, Six follows Lloyd to a maze-like garden in the yard. Claire shouts for help and Six finally finds them near the fountain. Lloyd then releases Claire and invites Six to a final showdown. The battle starts with aggressive punches launched by Lloyd, but of course he is just like a child dancing in front of Six. Despite his smaller posture, Six is still far better than Lloyd in a fair fight. Six keeps on pounding Lloyd until he realizes that he can't win fair and square. So, he takes out his knife and changes his fighting style. This time, Lloyd has the upper hand, slashing and stabbing Six whenever he has the chance. After some more stabs onto his body, Six finally removes the knife from Lloyd's hand, but he has bled too much. In addition, Lloyd drowns him in the water, making Six remember his childhood trauma that he got from his father. With his last strength, he gets out of Lloyd's hands and locks him instead with his strong arms, while strangling him. Just as Lloyd is about to die, Suzanne shoots him and kills him. She can't stand Lloyd's attitude and has other plans for Six. She takes Claire hostage to make Six comply with her wishes. Then, all the damage that has been done will be blamed onto Lloyd posthumously. 2 weeks later, Six survives but can't do anything. The doctor hypothesizes that he is having a stroke due to severe blood loss. Meanwhile, Denny, Suzanne, and Miranda are cleared from the case after corroborating to blame Lloyd for the incidents. Denny destroys the hard drive and continues to work in the CIA, but loses his leverage over Suzanne, who threatens to unfold the truth should he act against her. Feeling the wind is in her favor, Suzanne plans to immediately put Six to use. However, he was actually pretending to be sick and has escaped the facility. He breaks Claire free from her safe house in Virginia and they disappear together. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.